Hi guys, how are we doing? Are we alright? So guys, you've probably read the above blog, which gives us so much information on tricopigmentation. If you are anything like me, up until about 18 months ago, tricopigmentation was something that I had never even heard about. I knew that 30 was coming and I knew I was going a little bit bald, and the whole idea in my head of having to, first of all, talk about hair loss or hair thinning was something I didn't even really want to talk about. I thought that every treatment or anything out there that was available was really costly. You see that, you see like celebrities and you see in the magazines paying so much money for hair transplants, and that was something that was completely just beyond me, certainly financially. So I've done a lot of reading. I've actually had the tricopigmentation done by Joannou, and we're actually here in his shop in Brighton. So Peter, first of all, thank you for sorting out my hair. It's a year on now, and I actually say, like I've said already, I can't believe how much it's, first of all, it changed my life initially. It's the before and afters. It's not really until I saw the after shot and I realised how bad the top of my head was before. I didn't realise at the time it was affecting me so much. I think maybe because I was in the early stages of my hair going thinning, so it was quite new to me. But I think if someone's had it for 5 or 10 years, where it's gradually built up and it's got to a stage where it's really affecting your confidence, I can see it have an even bigger effect as it's had on me. So yeah, what I wanted to do, Peter, so we're here today with Peter Joannou, who is the specialist, the king, the linchpin of tricopigmentation in the UK. All the things and all the qualifications he has, we could be here till the evening, talking about everything. So I don't want to talk about that, but we're here. So Peter's kindly allowed us to come into his shop to see exactly what the buzz of tricopigmentation is about. So in a little while I'm going to take the camera, have a look around and show you exactly, just kind of what the setting is here, because what I love about it here is that it's a real masculine environment. I really like that, and it makes me feel comfortable. And I think that a lot of men who are looking into the possibility of tricopigmentation, I think one of the challenges, and I think you might agree, is that even talking about hair loss, I don't know whether you feel comfortable. Yeah, do you find it, Pete, that you have to kind of really encourage potential customers to talk about it?
Well, yeah. So we've got an upstairs here, so we do kind of privacy, really.
Yeah.
It gives guys a chance just to not feel like anybody's listening.
Yeah.
Either, and then people have different levels of how much they want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I guess people will get to know. A lot of my clients are regulars as well.
Yeah.
And they get to know us, and they're confident with us.
Yeah.
And they know what we're capable of doing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they'll tell us.
Yeah. So discretion is very much the key.
Yeah.
And I feel that even when I'm coming up here, it's somewhere that, like I say, it's masculine, but it's also kind of hidden away where you can have. You're not walking into some sort of clinic where you've got receptionists and everything going there. You feel embarrassed about it. So I love that, and I actually loved it when I first had the initial treatment, well, over a year ago now. So in general, customers have been very happy in the setting, and they feel generally very comfortable.
Yeah, they feel. That's the kind of feedback that you said.
Yeah.
That guys they just feel like it's nice. It's clinical, but not too clinical. You can see it's really nice and sterile environment.
Yeah.
But also they can relate because it feels like they're in the male grooming stroke barber shop as well.
And it's somewhere where you can pop down and have a haircut or a facial.
And we're probably
in the same setting as well.
Yeah. And we're probably one of the first places that does the two services in one place.
Yeah.
So.
And what struck me really was one of the things is, how does it feel to know that there's various companies out there that are kind of targeting tricopigmentation? How does it make you feel that people, you've told me of people that have come from overseas, America, like Europe, as well as obviously northern across the UK, they specifically make journeys to come down to have the treatment with you? How does that make you feel? Does it?
Oh, it's great. I mean, I do with passion.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for, did I tell you how long? a whole
It says,
grooming,
yeah, every time.
a whole grooming experience, you know, over 30 years.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not a job. It's a passion for me.
Yeah.
And I like making guys feel and look great.
Yeah. So you could almost say like tricopigmentation was like a progression. It's not I'm having a hair treatment or I'm having a hair loss treatment. It's a progression to looking good and wanting to kind of put yourself best self forward.
And you know, it's quite instant as well, because with 1 or 2 sessions you can see it progressively, whether you're going for density or for a buzz cut.
Yeah.
You can see the effect really straight away, and it's not evasive. It's not surgery.
Yeah.
Basically, it's putting thousands of semi-permanent pigment dots on the scalp.
Yeah.
So I can just make it look really natural.
So for the average guy who, you know, sitting at home and he's, you know, his wife or his partner or his mum's gone, you know, oh, you're getting a bit thin on top, what are you going to do? Because that was exactly what I was happening. I think it was my mum more than anything was going, oh, you need to have a look, get that fixed, or get it sorted, and it was kind of built up. So for the average guy who is sitting there and he's thinking, you know, oh, I could do with, you know, getting rid of this bald spot or thickening up here, you know, what's the average treatment going to take? You know, is it days, weeks?
Okay, well, it's usually done over 3 sessions.
Okay.
The reason for this is that 2 of the sessions are done consecutively, in other words, one day after another.
Yeah.
And we use those 2 days to build up the density,
and
to get as much density into the area. And then we'll leave it for 30 days. We'll let it settle in, because it might fade a little bit, or it might need a little bit more density in another area.
Yeah.
And then after 30 days, we'll come back, we'll have a good look at it. And during those 30 days, you've probably been looking at it as well, deciding whether you need any more or whether that's enough.
Yeah.
And then we'll just leave a final session after 30 days.
And how long does it normally last?
It normally, because it's a semi-permanent, it normally lasts between 12 months and 18 months.
Yeah.
Approximately.
Because I know with mine, we had our top up. I had my top up. It was over a year, wasn't it? We just had the baby, so it was about 14 months, I think, if I was right. And it was only really it was literally a top up, wasn't it? I remember you showed me the photos compared to the year before, and it was only faded ever so slightly. There certainly wasn't like oh god, this is something I'm going to have to do every year, kind of bang on the year, which I guess is a positive, isn't it? Because, you know, 2 or 3 days for a busy bloke, you can't, unless you really plan it. It might not be a bang on a year. It might be a couple of months before or after. So I'm assuming you have the flexibility to work that into your schedule.
So initially, because we're starting from a blank canvas,
it
takes 3 sessions, not 3 days. But then once it's done, you're just coming for maybe an annual maintenance, where it'd be just 1 session. So if you don't let it fade too much, we can just do it in 1 session. Which is what you had.
One of the things that I get inundated with, especially mainly on social media as well, because I think guys like talking more on social media about sort of, you know, how to improve their looks. One of the major questions that I get asked a lot, especially on the back of the popularity of this Trico blog that I did for Male Skin, is how much does it cost? How much we're going to have to put aside for a couple of months to get it done properly?
I mean, obviously it's an important question. And I always say you need to come in so I can see exactly what's involved. It depends how long it will take to do it. So just as a rough ballpoint figure, for somebody who's just got a small patch on the crown.
Similar to what I had, I think.
So that you're looking at about £900 for that.
Sorry to jump in, but that sounds scary. But I remember when I've looked at going up to Harley Street even and getting some sort of, you know, the alternative options, obviously hair, you know, transplants, actual, and they seem to run into like 1,000. So that's one thing that struck from me was, you know, 900 quid. It's a lot of money, but compared to the other options out there, it's actually it's very reasonable.
And also, what's important is, okay, initially you're laying out more money. But when it comes for a top up, you'll just pay a quarter of what you initially paid. But once you have it done, Alex, it's important. As long as it doesn't fade out too much, say like a year later, 14 months later, you're going to pay a quarter of what you initially paid. So if you paid 900, then you'd be a quarter of 900, and we'll do it in one session.
Okay. So it's almost just
it's fresh.
It strikes to me like it's an outlay that's a lot of money. Obviously, not compared to other options of hair treatments. It's a lot of money, but it's the kind of thing that, because it strikes me, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you have it done, which is what I felt, is you have it done and you pay all that money, and then the fact that you can top up is, you know, it's almost like spreading a car payment or something over, you know, over 5 years, or almost a mortgage. You know, I know it sounds silly to compare a hair treatment to something cost worthy like that, but for the average bloke who couldn't spend 5 or 6 grand on a hair transplant easily, it seems to me like it's overall it's a good deal, but then it's also manageable, and it works in with the treatment that the top ups last for a good year or 18 months. So it's something that's sustainable, and I think that's the key point. Is that the general feel that Trico is a long-term sustainable option.
Yeah, and because you're constantly topping up like every year and a half, it's always going to look fresh. That's because of the pigment that we use as well. If you use more permanent pigment, then it might change colour. And you look at old tattoos, for example, they tend to go a bit bluey,
grey and faded, don't they?
But with this, it will just fade out a little bit, and then you're just going to put a nice fresh pigment on top, so it always has a nice kind of sparkle. It always looks fresh, like real hair.
Lovely. So it strikes to me, I think one of the main points, it's like I say, my cousin was like, he's 26 and he's going bald. You've told me about clients that kind of naturally, stereotypically would search for hair improvements, like treatments, typically maybe in their 40s or their 50s. So it strikes to me, is Trico, compared to like say micropigmentation or other treatments, kind of more inclusive? It gives everyone of all ages an option.
Well, you know, micropigmentation or tricopigmentation, they're quite similar. I mean, but Trico is more a semi-permanent solution for a lot of people. And that's what I specialise in. But yeah, it's a solution, maybe not for everybody, whether it's micro or Trico, but it definitely helps so many people, you know, with what they need.
What are your general reactions for customers that will come and have it done and spend 3 days with you? How do they feel generally as those 2 or 3 days at the start go on, and then after the 30 days, what's their general feel?
Euphoria, you know, they get really happy when you can add hair. You know, we're not taking it away, you know, not having a haircut or taking away a beard. You can actually add a hairline to somebody who's got no hairline, for example, because they've received the right back, or they've got a thinning crown, you know, for them seeing that density come in, or having a hairline which they haven't had for a few years. The response is
life-changing.
Really.
I would go that.
And I would say, you know, it does make a person look younger as well. You know, imagine, you know, just this thick bushy hair on the side and on the top.
You just have that kind of middle-aged
feel to it. Shave it off, put a lovely new hairline in, with the tricopigmentation. They just look like they're 20 years younger.
Fresh hair,
And that's,
hair is everything. Like, I'm having a really bad hair day, and I have had for about a week because I haven't managed to come and see you. And it's just one of those things. It's just a bloke thing. Good hair, and you can crack anything. I found what I didn't really think was an issue after the treatment, and it wasn't really until I saw the before and after how much it was worrying me. But it was in the back of my mind where I wasn't waking up every day thinking, oh my God, I need to sort this out. It wasn't like that level, but it wasn't really until I saw that, until I'd gone through the whole treatment, that I thought to myself, you know, wow, that was actually something that I was in the back of my mind was always there, and I was even up to the point where I was starting to wear hats, and little things like that. So I think, you know, that was my general feeling from someone who'd gone through your treatment. For me personally, let's talk about the pain, because I've got quite a really low pain threshold, and for me, it was one of the worries just before, you know, we went for the consultation and then we booked it in a couple of weeks after. I was a little bit like, I've never had a tattoo or anything like that, so I have got a really low pain threshold. But to me, it wasn't. For the first couple of minutes, I felt that it was a little bit like you can feel it scratching, but it wasn't anywhere near what I thought it would be. Is that the general feedback you get from other customers?
Generally, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, some people, you know, they've got really sensitive scalps.
Yeah.
But generally, because the needle's so fine, it's minimal really. Sometimes the following day can be a bit more uncomfortable,
yeah,
because I'm going over the area,
yeah,
so it can be a little bit more sore. But generally it's not too bad. But again, it depends on the person's kind of how sensitive their scalp. I have had some guys and it's been very sensitive for them, yeah, but we've just taken it slowly.
Yeah.
I can also put some cream on Emla cream, which helps to like numb it a little bit if we have to, because different parts of the scalp might be more sensitive. Like might be more sensitive on the crown or on the sides.
Yeah.
So I can just kind of anaesthetise that area a little bit.
Okay. What struck me as well, it was quite easy after the treatment, because you put various like pointers my way. Can you just go through what the kind of procedure is after you've had the treatment? Because if I remember rightly, you can't have, you know, you can't have fragrance heavy shampoos. You have to kind of use baby shampoos. Can you just enlighten and just tell us what happened?
So initially, when you have the procedure,
yeah,
you mustn't wash it for probably about 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Just let it settle in, and then when you do start washing it, you've got to use a very mild shampoo.
Yeah.
If you've got a buzz cut effect, like really short like mine,
yeah,
then I find using a cleanser,
yeah,
well, the same cleanser you'd use on your skin, you could just do your whole scalp with it.
Okay.
Because it's really nice and mild. Basically, the milder the shampoo that you use, whether it's a cleanser or baby shampoo, the longer the colour's going to stay on the scalp, yeah, as well.
Okay.
So initially, the first day, just before the treatment, you've got to avoid caffeine, alcohol as well, because it just kind of stops the colour from taking. So
okay.
As well.
What are the most common requests that you get from customers? Are they all trying to fill in a bald patch, or is there specific styles that they ask you to recreate? Or?
Well, we get a lot of guys who shave their heads.
Yeah.
And they will have a short line down to 0 or half, and then perhaps they've got nothing on top.
Yeah.
So I use this technique to make it look like they've shaved the top as well, and I can build up their hairline so it just blends into their hair as if it's just normal hair.
Oh, okay.
So it'll frame their face. So it's like a buzz cut effect.
Oh, okay. So it's not just this idea that if you've got a bald spot, you can have it tattooed and it's fine. It's this, even if you're completely bald,
yeah,
you can almost create a hairline.
Yeah, I've had guys who've got very, very fine hair, even what they've got.
Yeah.
I've just done the whole scalp with it.
Really?
It looks really natural.
Yeah. So I can see a couple up there as well, and they look really, really good.
One guy, his ex-wife, thought he'd actually have a hair transplant.
Really? And it's because of that?
And his doctor as well, they both thought he'd have a hair transplant.
Really? Wow.
So natural.
And so for that one, I'm assuming that would take longer than the just the top. So what would the price be for that for a buzz cut?
So if it's just like what we'd call a Norwood 7, which is like the shoe effect of baldness on the top, that's kind of the standard buzz cut where it starts from. We're looking at about 1,400 for the whole treatment.
Yeah.
If it's something more than that, whether it's coming right down or it's very fine on the side, you're looking. It's going to be basically from 1,400 upwards.
Yeah. But I guess it's the time that it takes that's integrated into that, because obviously a bigger area and the more.
Yeah, I mean, we might do 2 days of 5 hours each day, 6 hours each day.
But after it's done, wow.
Consecutively.
And do you get any? So we've got the bald spots generally, and then the buzz cuts. Do you get any requests that are kind of a little bit out of the ordinary that someone at home might think, oh, I've got this, I bet it doesn't cover that? Do you get anything like that? Or?
These requests that we get, they're not out of the ordinary. They're quite common as well. A lot of guys, like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, even some more recent, have had hair transplants.
Yeah.
Whether it's the old traditional FUT, where they take a strip out of the back.
Yeah.
And they're left with a big scar sometimes at the bottom of the nape.
Okay.
So I can use this technique to make it blend in, so it's not so angry looking, and it will just blend in, which means that client can take their hair a bit shorter. They're not so conscious of leaving it longer all the time. Sometimes FUEs, when there's not much of donor hair, it might thin out an area a little bit as well, maybe on the side. Again, I can use this Tricopigmentation to make that area look thicker as well. In other words, to go over any old scars or any areas that look a bit thinner.
So Tricopigmentation in general, where do you think it's going, and do you think the market over the coming years, because obviously you're the front of the market and you've led it for years, do you foresee more and more salons like cropping up all over the place? Because obviously, you know, there's only a few real specialists out there. Do you think that it'll ever get the same size as like micropigmentation or even hair transplants, where it's a viable out there option that men knowingly are aware of?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't know about it yet, but it's definitely a new thing. I mean, it's been around for about 15, 18 years, but it's only the last few years people have been hearing about it, so it's just gaining more and more momentum, more and more people finding out about it.
Yeah.
And for some people, whether it's financially or they might not have enough hair for transplant, this is a great way of reviving somebody's look, you know, making them look younger and fresher and thicker hair,
so I guess
without having to spend out so much as a transplant.
So guys, Peter, Joannou, thank you very, very much for your time. I'm so sorry to have stolen over half an hour of your time. I know it's very precious, but thank you so much for taking the time to, because I think what's most important for me is, although we've written the blog and we get so much traction from the blogs online, and lots of questions come through, and I think you obviously get a lot of contact directly through yourself. What I wanted the purpose of today to be would be like just to give a visual element of it. You know, we appreciate that a lot of people who are seeing it can't necessarily, you know, jump on a train an hour away and come for a consultation. So I think we've almost had kind of a consultation vibe about this, haven't we? I guess today, which is kind of it started with an interview setup, but it kind of, you know, it's evolved into a general consultation, and I love that. And I think for 2020, I'm definitely going to be stealing more of your time, if that's all right. Because I think there's areas where we can evolve, and there's more and more questions that I've got that might be more specific, to be honest with you. I might have to pre-load you with those questions, so you know, although, you know, to be honest, the manual, you probably have them already safe and stowed away, ready to answer them. But I really wanted today just to be a general, you know, feel-good factor about Tricopigmentation and let it introduce everyone. I really think we've done that. So Peter, thank you so much for your time, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll catch up in 2020, where hopefully the sky is the limit for Trico. So thank you very much. See you guys soon. Bye bye. For those of you who do want to get in contact with Peter, because obviously, like I say, we get a lot of requests directly through the vlog, and particularly through the Trico blog. How can people contact you, Peter? What's the best way? Email, phone, or?
Probably go to our website,
which
is www.tricopigmentation.
So www.tricopigmentation.co.uk.
Yeah.
So we can get contact through the website, email, phone call. I'm going to put the email and the phone call at the bottom of the blog as well, so you can, in case you did want to just go direct. Pete is your man, so we'll see you guys soon.